Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to week three, already week three, of performance management, OS 330. So, before we start this week, let me talk a little bit more about doing a SWOT analysis. And SWOT analysis is actually very, very cool, very powerful, too. So, remember, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and that your strengths and weaknesses are internal to the organization and the opportunities and threats are external. So usually when I have done this, it is in a large room with a large amount of people. And we're trying to figure out our vision and mission statement, perhaps for the company. And we are also looking at our strategic vision for the next year. So what we do is a lot of silent brainstorming. So on each wall, there could be a large area. One wall is strengths, the other wall is weakness, the other wall is opportunities, and the other one is threats. And everybody gets big pads of yellow stickies, not small ones like these, but the big ones, right? And we say, okay, what I want you to do, this table is team strength right now. This table is weakness. This table is opportunities. This one is threats. And on each yellow sticky, and only one yellow sticky per thought, meaning identify one strength on that yellow sticky, write it down. This is individual, and put S at the bottom corner. And then go up to the wall and put all the yellow stickies for strengths. And same with the table for weakness. Write them all down on one thought, one yellow sticky, put it where it says weakness. And then you say, okay, now move everybody to another table and have them do it again. This time, the people that were previously strengths, they could be weakness. Identify each weakness. One thought per yellow sticky. Now put those back up on the wall. So you eventually have a huge wall of strengths and weaknesses on these yellow stickies from all groups. And it's individual. See, since it's a silent brainstorming, you're not contaminating how your SWOT analysis is going. And that's very important because as a manager or a leader, as soon as you say, well, I think our strength is this, everybody's going to agree with you. You have just now contaminated it. So you want to be quiet. You don't want to say anything as the leader. You want to get everybody's input. And the best way to do that is through the team silent brainstorming like that. So now you're probably saying to yourself, but Dave, now I have a wall of random thoughts. That's right. You bring in somebody, maybe a consultant, maybe somebody that hasn't been part of this team, right? And now they start organizing into big thoughts. So they're taking the yellow stickies and saying, "Hey, I see a lot of people saying that our opportunity is, let's say, transportation." I see a couple of comments on transportation. So they may group these all together and then come up with an overall theme and say, hey, our large opportunity is to expand our ability to transport our goods. Does that capture everybody's thoughts? And now you have a big opportunity. So that's normally how I do it. And it's timely, but it's usually very successful. And I wanted to express that because I know in this course, you're just kind of doing it on your own, and you may not be seeing, the overall impact of it. Okay, so now on to week three. So week three, we're going to be in chapter 5 and 6. Pay attention to these chapters, right? This is probably the most difficult part of this course. Okay, so here for the videos that I put there, because we're going to be talking about coaching, we're going to be talking about mentorship, we're going to be talking about giving feedback, right? But there's some important things I need you to pay attention to. And I even highlighted my pages here. starting on page 157, those case studies there, and starting on page 122. 122. See, when you write a performance evaluation, the hardest part is writing the rubric. So for instance, everybody likes a Likert scale, 1 through 5. Okay, what constitutes a 3? Well, most people would say, yeah, that's average performance. Okay, what is average performance? Did you meet your sales quota? Did you exceed it by 2 or 3 points? Did you greatly exceed it? You know, what is meets expectations for the janitorial staff? Clean toilets? Always there when somebody spills something? I don't know. That's why this is the hardest part of this course, and it's probably the most difficult right here. This chapter. This is going to be part of your final project, right? Because you're looking right now at building a complete performance plan, using that SWOT analysis you did, using your ONET and your job description you did on week 1 and week 2, and now you're looking at, okay, how do I write an actual evaluation for what I do or am supposed to do? And this is where it gets really tricky, you know, as let's say a receptionist. What does exceeds performance there? I always and I'm not trying to sound like a jerk here, but you know, do I answer the phone before 3 rings? Nobody's on hold for more than a minute. I don't know. I don't know these skills. I know somebody in the class who works in the education system. I struggle with that because I'm in the education system. What is, you know, superior performance? I have no failing students. Does that mean that's superior performance? So this is the tough part here. That being said, there's also, I put 2 from previous classes. I removed the names. These were very good performance final projects. And, you should take a look at them, and I would start using them as a template. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about feedback, right? And I think I mentioned this in this week. There's this thing called radical candor feedback. And I love it, right? It's by Kim Scott. If you did a Google search, you would find some TED Talks by Kim Scott. And she was an executive at Google. And so basically her story and how she came up with this model. She said, hey, here I was. I just gave a presentation at Google. And my supervisor, I thought it went really well, but my supervisor told me, you say a lot. And she said, yeah, I know. She said, no, you need to work on that. And Kim said, well, I kept blowing her off. Yep, thank you. And then finally my supervisor got my attention and said, listen, when you say a lot, it makes you sound stupid and nobody likes it. You need to work on it. So Kim Scott said, well, I was kind of hurt. Didn't like it. I thought it was a little abrasive. But then when she thought about it some more, she realized that her supervisor gave her that direct feedback, one, in response to Kim's response, but also because she cared about her and she cared about the task. Think about that. How often do you get feedback or give feedback because you care about the person, their performance, and the task? And this is what she calls radical candor, that sometimes we have to be very direct, and there's ways to do this without really making someone angry. And she gives some good, phrases. So for instance, when you're about to give somebody feedback, how about saying something like, Well, I like where you're going. Have you thought of this? Or perhaps this would be a better idea. Or, and I, and that kind of sets the tone there, saying, hey, I care about you, but have you thought about this? Uh, and I know to some people that they're like, yeah, okay, you're coating the feedback, but it makes people more receptive, right? We all joke around and, because we know if somebody says, but, yeah, it's the after the but that everybody pays attention to. But that's, it's it's important stuff, this radical candor feedback. It's so important. There's a good poll out there that she did. She said, okay, when receiving feedback, what percentage of people do you think want to receive positive feedback, vice negative feedback? And most people, believe it or not, it's almost like 80% want negative feedback. They don't want to hear when they're doing a good job. Because they know they're doing a good job. They don't, yeah, give me a pat on the back now and then, but you don't have to. But if I'm doing a bad job, I want to know. And then, okay, how many people want to give positive feedback, vice negative feedback? And it's almost the exact opposite. 80% of people want to give positive feedback, and only about 20% are, want to give negative feedback. So there's a huge disconnect on what people want to give vice what they want to receive. And we're selling ourselves short. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. Oh, if Dave gives me some bad feedback on my paper, he doesn't like me. That's not the case. Feedback is a gift. I always look at it this way. One, if one of you said, "Hey, Dave, that lecture was really short. I really didn't like it." First of all, I would be glad that I have developed the trust that you feel you can come forward to me and let me know that, because that is important. It's the trust that we're talking about. That you and I have that relationship where you could give me some bad news. I won't retaliate, you know, because I care, we care about each other as people and the task being performed. So think about that because, as you're building these performance management systems and these evaluation criterias, you will have to give feedback. And I put a funny video there, right? Because there is some uncomfortable situations where you have to give bad feedback, So for instance, and it could be, here's an actual case, right? Had an employee at lunch, we were allowed to go PT, physical training, go to the gym, right? 3 times a week. And so this combines with your lunchtime. Government workers get a half-hour lunch. So this command allowed another half hour, so an hour for lunch if you went to the gym. Okay. So this person said, I want to use my entire hour, to be on the elliptical and read or be on the treadmill. Not shower, didn't have enough time. So would come back in the afternoon and stink, sweat, yeah, just nasty, right? And then eat his lunch at his desk. Employees were complaining, nobody could work with him. Yeah, so I had to give the feedback that, hey, you need to take a shower, or we're going to revoke for everyone the ability to go to the gym. So it didn't single them out, and that's the way it is. Okay, so that's week 3. There's some case studies to do. Everybody's doing good. Monday is the final attendance day, so I'll be putting attendance in. Everybody's present so far, so yeah, there's no absence. Okay, so once again, if you have any questions, please contact me. Thanks. Dave out.